Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're conducting an auditory autopsy into the sheer mechanics of vocal dominance. Picture this. You're at the gym, right? You're absolutely exhausted, practically dragging your feet, and then, boom, a certain track comes on. Suddenly, you feel this almost physical wave of energy hit you right through your headphones. It's like you're instantly ready to lift a car. Well, we're going to look at the source material from echo theory to deconstruct exactly why that happens. We aren't just talking about music today. No, we're exploring the wild intersection of psychology, neuroscience, and rhythm to uncover the true architecture of vocal power. So here's the big question. Why does one voice sound more powerful than another? Seriously, think about it for a second. When you hear certain vocalists or speakers, there's this visceral, gut-level feeling of power. The hairs on the back of your neck might literally stand up. Your heart rate might even shift. What's actually happening in that microsecond to create such a cinematic curiosity gap in your brain? And taking that a step further, why can a fast rap performance make your brain feel completely fired up before you even understand a single word? I mean, your synapses are firing, your adrenaline is pumping, and your brain is sparking with kinetic energy way before comprehension even kicks in. You're feeling the sheer impact of the sound before your language processing center has even had a chance to decode the lyrics. How crazy is that? Section 1. The illusion of power and rethinking vocal dominance. Let's move to and see how this builds as we start peeling the onion at the outermost, macroscopic layer of how a voice actually sounds. So, the crucial point is we carry around a lot of assumptions about what makes a sound strong, right? We usually just assume power is simply volume and loudness. We think whoever shouts the loudest is the most dominant. But actually, true, undeniable vocal authority is a highly specific cocktail of rhythm, confidence, timing, vocal attack, and contrast. True power is absolutely not about blowing out the microphone. It's built on meticulous timing. It's that sharp, precise vocal attack on a consonant, followed immediately by a dramatic pause. It's the stark contrast between a quiet, urgent whisper and a sudden, sharp delivery. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about being the most deliberate. That is where the power actually lives. Section 2, the psychology of flow and tracking the rhythm. We're transitioning now from the external sound waves into the cognitive mind to see how we actually track this. Let's ground this in the science with a strict definition. Flow is the rhythm, timing, and delivery of vocals over a beat. But psychologically speaking, it relies on this incredibly delicate balance of expectation and surprise. Looking through a music theory lens, a beat creates a mathematical grid. And let me tell you, your brain loves grids. It absolutely craves patterns. Think of the beat as the steady, reliable, rhythmic ticking of a clock. Flow is how the vocalist dances around that ticking, moving flawlessly between the ticks, sometimes dragging a little behind, sometimes leaping just ahead, all to keep your psychology entirely hooked. And this brilliantly illustrates how that hook functions, happening in 3 distinct steps. Step 1. Your brain predicts the next beat. That's the expectation. We humans are basically pattern recognition machines, constantly anticipating what comes next. Step 2. The rapper shifts the timing. They land just a fraction of a second ahead of or behind that predicted beat. That is the surprise. And finally, step 3. Your attention is instantly captured. Because the rhythm shifted in an unpredictable way, your brain is jolted awake. It's forced to constantly guess, keeping you wildly engaged without you even realizing why. Section 3. Why speed excites brains and the neurological processing center. Let's guide you deeper into how this physically impacts us. What is the actual physiological impact of high-speed vocal delivery? Let's break down the anatomy of high-speed engagement. Rapid, syllable changes. They demand high mental engagement, which forces increased processing speed, resulting in heightened neurological arousal. When a vocalist strings together complex syllables at breakneck speed, they're effectively turning their voice into a percussion instrument. Your brain has to work in absolute overdrive just to keep up with the auditory input. In fact, research suggests the human brain maxes out at processing about 9 syllables per second before language comprehension just completely falls apart. But here's the thing. Long after you stop understanding the words, your brain is still thrilling at the sheer acoustic speed. Now, what's really interesting here is this concept of excitement without comprehension. The thrill you feel during a rapid-fire delivery comes strictly from that processing speed we just talked about. It happens entirely independently of understanding the actual words. The sheer velocity of the syllables creates a literal neurological rush. You're reacting to the physics of the sound before the poetry of the lyrics. It's why I can barely rap fast myself in the shower without tripping over my own tongue, but listening to someone else do it flawlessly feels exactly like riding a roller coaster. Section 4. The emotion of aggression and hitting the emotional core. Now we're transitioning from cold, hard neurology straight into the visceral, emotional core. Because speed and rhythm, they're only half the equation. Controlled vocal intensity communicates profound emotional states, unshakable confidence, immediate urgency, fierce determination, focused anger. Now notice the key word there, controlled. This is not reckless yelling. It's the difference between a wild flailing swing and the absolute precision of a highly trained martial artist's strike. It is highly regulated intensity that translates into feelings of urgency, hitting the listener's emotional centers just as hard as the lyrics do. When a vocalist harnesses this kind of controlled attack, you, the listener, respond to the emotional delivery just as much as you respond to the dictionary definition of the words being spoken. Section 5. The universal energy and why non-fans feel it too. Let's broaden the scope a bit. So does this only matter to hip-hop aficionados? How does this psychological phenomenon impact the general public, regardless of their personal musical tastes? You might assume this intensity only applies to die-hard rap fans. But look at the data. Whether you're a rap fan or not, you are reacting to the exact same underlying rhythm and vocal dynamics. The brain processes these auditory cues completely independent of musical genre preferences. You don't have to have a single rap album in your entire collection for your brain to recognize and immediately react to precision timing, confident vocal attacks, and surprising rhythmic shifts. Because ultimately, what we're talking about is a universal human response to rhythm and intensity. Now, obviously, individual reactions to a specific song or artist will vary based on personal taste. We all have our preferences, but the subconscious tracking of emotional delivery, the way our neurons literally fire when expectation meets surprise, that is a nearly universal human experience. It's fundamentally baked into our biology. It's far less about musical preference and much more about how humans have evolved to process sound and emotion. So maybe the power isn't only inside the voice. Maybe it's inside the way our brain reacts to rhythm. The power isn't just a broadcast, it's a reception. It requires your brain, your neurology, your expectation to complete the entire circuit. It really is where music meets the mind. Next time you hear a powerful voice, ask yourself, are you just hearing them, or are they playing your brain like an instrument? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you on the next one.